You ever have a morning where the universe decides you're going to get humbled or maybe witness someone else's lesson play out for the whole world to see? That's what happened at Camp Meridian one cold October. And if you'd walked in that supply center at just the wrong moment, you might have thought it was just another case of some contractor with a weird old jacket getting roasted by the next generation of up-and-comers. You know what I mean? But there's a reason folks say the quietest people in the room are sometimes the ones you should listen to. And this time, the truth hit like a punch to the gut.so. It started out like any other Friday. The Colorado Rockies were sharp and beautiful. The air was thin. The wind stung your cheeks with that mix of diesel and pine needles that only happens on a military base in autumn. Soldiers shuffled through their routines, boots on frozen turf, while the sun was barely crawling up over the mountains. Camp Meridian isn't like those big southern bases. It's cold, built for war, not comfort, and it smells like oil, wet stone, and sweat. Lyra Valkyrie. Yeah, that's really her name. She didn't pick it. Pulled up in a banged-up Toyota Tacoma that looked like it had survived more campaigns than most of the junior officers inside. She was just there to pick up a few things for a weekend mountain warfare exercise. Nothing more. Some carabiners, a new rope, first aid kit, the basics. She'd been out of the Army a dozen years, now working as a civilian teaching survival skills to Rangers who'd be heading out soon enough. Her hair was gray, her boots were chewed up, and the jacket, man, the jacket was something else. Olive canvas, the kind that was Army standard when Bill Clinton was in office, with the cuffs soft and frayed from years of use. And on the shoulder, so faded it looked like a ghost, the outline of a unit patch. Most people wouldn't notice. But those who did, well, nobody could say what it was. She walked into the supply center, head up, eyes on her paperwork, moving like someone who'd navigated bases like this since before most of these kids could spell enlistment. Nobody paid her much mind, not until the three captains started talking. There's always a group like that. Pressed uniforms, Ranger tabs shining, social media ready, all the right credentials, but not a hint of doubt they're the future of the U.S. military. Marcus Webb, their ringleader, had a phone out before she'd even reached the counter. Check out the Yelper by the desk. He snickered, not whispering, not quite shouting, just loud enough so everyone could hear, but not enough for him to get in trouble if someone complained. Torres and Morrison, his usual entourage, chimed in. Probably bought it at a surplus store and made it look old, Torres said, and Morrison leaned in, dropping lines about his general dad and how you could always spot the fakes by their gear. Real operators don't need to advertise, he grinned. You know how it goes. Once the ball starts rolling, it gets ugly quick. Webb's phone was on, streaming quietly for his followers, while they made a show of dissecting everything about Lyra. The way she moved, the jacket, the faded patch. This is classic stolen valor, he whispered for the camera. Watch and learn, folks. This is how you spot a poser. Others around the room looked uncomfortable, but nobody said anything. Rank has its privileges, and if you're enlisted, you don't challenge officers in public, not unless you've got a death wish. Lyra didn't flinch, didn't react, just kept filling out her forms with this steely calm, like she'd heard it all before. But the tension was there, crawling up her spine. She gripped her pen a little too tight, her knuckles turning white, the kind of body language you notice only if you've spent too long in places where silence can mean life or death. She traced that old patch on her shoulder, not even realizing she was doing it. Muscle memory from a life lived in the shadows. That's when everything changed. The supply center doors hissed open. In walked General Alexander Hawthorne, a legend in blues and 5 stars, ribbons from Vietnam to Kandahar, the sort of man people stand up for without being told. But today, he wasn't there for an inspection or a medal ceremony. He saw Lyra, or more precisely, the ghost on her shoulder, and it stopped him cold. You ever see an old man's eyes fill up with ghosts? He stood there, not moving, while the captains kept up their little performance, oblivious. Then Hawthorne said, softly but loud enough to freeze the air, Ghost 6. The room went dead quiet. Lyra straightened, that old instinct to stand at attention fighting with her civilian status. The general walked up, boots echoing, everyone watching, and looked at her like he was seeing a ghost himself. March 15th, 2012. Kandahar Province. Operation Silent Angel, he said, his voice cracking. Lyra answered the way she'd been trained. No such operation exists, sir. He nodded, tears glinting in his eyes. It doesn't. My son was supposed to die that day. He was hit, pinned down, no backup. Everyone said it was over. But someone pulled him out, carried him 12 miles through Taliban lines. He turned to the room. This woman, the one you've been mocking, is the reason my son is alive. You want to know who she is? Staff Sergeant Lyra Valkyrie. Shadow Operations Group. Missions that never officially happened. You could have heard a pin drop. Webb's phone was still recording, now showing his own humiliation live to the world. The general told them about the 415th Black Ops. No records, no medals, just silence and survival. Some of our best never got thanked. Today, I'm fixing that. He pulled out a small black case, the Shadow Star, an award almost nobody had seen, given to operators who did the impossible, quietly, for nothing but a chance at one more day. Lyra tried to refuse, but Hawthorne wouldn't hear it. You deserve this, he said, pinning the medal next to that ghost patch for everyone to see. He turned to the captains, voice sharp, authority like a thunderclap. Delete the stream. Report to my office. You'll learn what it means to lead. Webb was shaking, Torres and Morrison white as sheets, all the swagger gone. But Lyra didn't crush them. She looked them in the eyes, and the rest of the room, too, and said, ask questions before you make assumptions. Remember, real heroes don't need to advertise. Leadership means lifting others, not tearing them down. The general nodded, adding, you just got a master class in leadership from someone who survived things you'll hopefully never even have to imagine. Private Martinez, the clerk, handed Lyra her gear, voice trembling. Thank you, ma'am. She smiled, just a little, shouldered her bag, and walked out into the cold morning, the Shadow Star glinting. Hawthorne walked with her. I'd like to watch your training session, he said, finally smiling. You're always welcome, sir, Lyra replied. But you better keep up. I don't go easy on anyone. The doors closed behind them, but the lesson stuck. Inside, every soldier knew they'd witnessed something real. Webb would spend years trying to live up to what he saw that day. Torres started asking more questions. Morrison stopped talking like his father, and Private Martinez would always remember the morning he saw a ghost teacher room full of leaders what honor really looks like. So, let me ask you, have you ever seen someone show grace when revenge was justified? Have you ever realized the people you overlook might carry stories that would shake your whole view of justice? If this hit home, you should check out the next story. It might change your mind about what it means to serve, to lead, or to forgive. And don't forget, hit subscribe, drop your thoughts below. Who was right? What would you have done? The floor's yours. Let's talk about it.